Almost everyone you ask will tell you that they're concerned about their privacy online, but very rarely do people take action. So this actually has been called the privacy paradox. How do you explain this mismatch between what we say we're concerned about and what we're actually willing to do about it? And then the other part of the story is that even people who say that they intend to do something about having better online privacy or better process about it, they also don't do anything. So there's also like this gap between the people's intentions and their actual behaviors. We're seeing lots of examples of problematic events that happen to people regarding their online information. There's many levels, and some of them are more harmful than others. Facebook has been recently involved in many questionable privacy behavior. There was probably the most famous one was the Cambridge Analytica, where information about users was not just users, but also their friends was being collected, like their likes and their interests and things like that, and they were being commercialized. There are many reasons why people don't do much about their online privacy. One of which is that they procrastinate. They see oftentimes an immediate benefit to sharing their information online. You get access to a website or to some maybe personalized, customized services that you get on the website. So obviously the better they know you, the more customized services that they can give you. So there's an immediate benefit that they see, but the potential harm is often hidden. It's not immediate, it's in the future perhaps, once their information leaks or it gets sold to a third party. Another reason is simply the cost benefit, right? People are sometimes aware that they give up something, they give up their personal information, sometimes more than they would have otherwise, in return for these personalized benefits. So it's a real calculated cost-benefit analysis, really. People sometimes actually they just give up. And this is, it goes back to research in psychology from back in the 60s that has found a state of mind that's called learned helplessness. People actually become conditioned to avoid escaping adverse events. They basically say, well, even if I do something about it, then someone else is going to collect my information, some other company, Facebook, Google. They hear about all these events in the media, right? Even if it didn't happen to them personally, and that conditions them in this state of learned helplessness. If I try to block it in one app, my information is still being circulated in all these, dozens of other apps that I want to use because these apps give me something that I like. I think that one of the interesting mechanisms that people can develop or use to protect their online privacy is to the opposite of learned helplessness, which is learned optimism. There's been experiments that showed that there can be sometimes training events, interventions that allow people to develop a sense of optimism. And if you're more optimistic, then you will be more confident that you can do something about your online information. I think that people actually have tools at their disposal to become more aware that their information is being used online and to actually do something about it if they wish to do something about it. Yeah, there's a whole list of things people can do to protect their online information, and many of these tools are freely available. They take a matter of 5 seconds to install. They have been tested and validated, and it's as easy as an on-off button to stop third-party tracking. Having good password practices, not reusing the same passwords over and over again, using more complex passwords. And sometimes you can use a password manager. If you don't want to worry about remembering all your passwords, there's password managers that you can randomly generate a password. You might never need to remember it ever, and that's safer than reusing the password. There's VPN software that you can use, especially when you're dealing with sensitive information, like you're trying to buy a product online. Then run a VPN so that the information is less likely to be compromised by hackers. There's also browser add-ins that you can install, especially if you're concerned about your information being collected as you visit site to site. It comes down to again, mindfully understanding that this is happening and always catching yourself before you accept the next app that asks you to share information, or before you start browsing to these random websites. Put yourself in a mode that you recognize that this is happening and ask yourself, is it worth it or not? So switch from a mindless way of acting to a mindful way.